All right, welcome to Assistive Technology for Game Night.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Assistive Technology for Game Night. My name is Jana, and I'm the Training and Virtual Outreach Coordinator for the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, and I will be the chat moderator for today. If anyone has any questions or comments, you can ask the questions in the chat. You can also raise your hand by using the hand icon down below, and I can unmute you to ask your question. If you need help turning on your captions, we do have a live captioner. If you go to the bottom of your menu bar, there should be a CC button where you can click to turn on your captions. And also we have an ASL interpreter here with us. You should see in the top of your screen. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Abby and Caitlin.
I want to click. There we go. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. Questions are very welcome to us throughout the session. So please feel free to type those into the chat bar and Jana will ask those out. We'll also be pausing periodically throughout to take time for questions.
And hello. I am Abby Squires. I am our AT specialist for gaming and crafting. And Caitlin here.
I am our Augmentative and Alternative Communication, or AAC, Assistive Technology Specialist. So before we get started talking about AT for Game Night, we're going to talk a little bit about our program, which is the Michigan Assistive Technology Program, or MATP. We are a free federally funded program that provides AT-related supports across the state of Michigan. We serve the entire state of Michigan, the entire lifespan, and all disabilities. We provide a lot of supports like providing resources and information to people, providing training. We do demonstrations of a wide variety of assistive technology, including the assistive technology we'll talk about today. We also maintain a lending library that has close to, at this point, I think 2,000 different pieces of assistive technology available for folks to borrow from our lending library. We say try before you buy. We don't sell anything, but we give you the chance to try things out so that when you go to purchase them or to seek funding for the item, you know that it's something that works for you. Also, a very special thing about our program is that MATP is by people with disabilities, for people with disabilities, their allies, and other community members. So we have a lot of lived experience on our team, and we love to be creative and help folks figure out what combination of AT can work best for them to help them live their life the way they want to. We have assistive technology for all areas of life. This slide lists a few examples of sort of categories of AT, if you will. We have AT to support community living, vision and hearing access, communication, mental health and recovery, outdoor recreation, self-regulation, gaming, gardening, camping, hunting, birding, e-bikes, things to support reading and writing and learning, AT for cooking and eating, for parenting, for all kinds of crafting, organizing and executive function, and connecting with friends and family.
Assistive technology, or AT. AT is any item, piece of equipment, software, or app that's used to help people with disabilities, including older adults, do what they want to do. Technology can make things easier for everyone. For people with disabilities, AT opens up many possibilities.
One thing we like to do as a team is talk a lot about how assistive technology, while very helpful to fill in gap areas in our life, can also be a critical component of us having experiences of joy and fulfillment in our life. And very much AT for Game Night is about that, about how do we enjoy accessible and inclusive opportunities for recreation.
And before we get too into it, I was just have a question for everyone attending. Do you have a favorite game, like a favorite video game, board game, or card game? If so, feel free to unmute or type in the chat. And while you're
Or you
thinking of that, we could always we can talk about what we're going to cover. But I
can,
do see that. Oh, Jana, sorry.
Sorry, no, it's okay.
I used to chat moderating. I'm
I
like,
know,
oh,
I was
chat.
gonna say, we're both used to doing it. Looks like Kelly plays Uno, all types. Um,
Nice.
Eileen plays Flux, which I haven't heard of before, but sounds
There's
pretty
several different
cool.
versions of Flux. Yeah,
All
the
right.
card-based game.
Oh, cool. Maggie plays Euchre. Sarah plays Euchre.
Yeah.
Looks like Jaleesa plays Sing Star and SSX Tricky. Teresa plays Sackboy and Sequence. And Kinsey plays Uno and Skippo. I do like some Skippo.
Love. I have something terrible to admit. I still don't know how to play euchre. I've tried. I can't retain the information. Oh, but I know. I'm sorry. Teresa just wrote Abby in the chat. I mean, I'm just kidding. I love it. I play it all the time and know what I'm doing. Um, but so thank you everyone for writing in the chat. And oh, thank you, ally in the chat. They don't know how to play euchre either. All right. And feel free to keep typing in the chat. I'm going to go over a little bit about what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about how to create an accessible and inclusive gaming environment for both physical and sensory needs. And we're going to be exploring assistive technology that supports inclusive gameplay. And I wanted to touch on social isolation a little bit, talk about how important it is to people's mental health. Research on digital games have shown that they contribute to higher levels of well-being, less depression, less negative effects amongst older adults. Going to an arcade or gaming meetup is really good for combating social isolation, but it's not always an option. And so in that case, video games allow individuals to connect with family and people who have similar interests, and it just helps create an amazing support network and foster lifelong friendships, which is such a positive impact on one's well-being. And not all online spaces are welcoming and inclusive, but once you do find that fit, that family community, it can be an amazing thing.
Clicks are delayed today. Okay, so when we talk about game night, what does that look like? We went round and round a few different ways to talk about how do we describe all of the different pieces of setting up an inclusive game night, and also with understanding that so many things in sort of different areas have overlap into other areas, and how do we kind of break that up for you? So many of the things you'll see on the slides today can apply across multiple areas of accessibility, and certainly depending on each individual's access needs, there are ways to customize and change those things. Also, too, this is not an all like exhaustive list of all the possible pieces of AT that can be helpful for accessible game night and inclusive game night. These are some of our ideas and some common things, items we have in our lending library for you to check out. But also just keep that in mind that as we go, there might be things that we are continuing to brainstorm with you and adding in to the chat based on your questions. So when we set the table for game night, what does that look like? There are lots of fancy gaming tables out there, certainly, that folks can purchase, but there are lots of ways to make a dining room table or a card table more accessible for everybody. One of the most common ways is by using rotating trays. They have lots of different names. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes and different materials. Often you'll see like the standard old wooden tray that you can be used to set on the table to rotate dishes around, but you can add board games directly on top of that. You can put dice towers on top of it. You can put like money in the bank for Monopoly on top of it, or cards that need to be drawn for different actions in games on top of it so they can rotate around. Also, there are a number of popular board games like Scrabble, for example, that have versions available for purchase that have built-in rotating spinners on the bottom. There are also, which we'll talk about later in our slide deck today, there are ways you can DIY that to board games you have at home as well. Also using reacher grabbers, which are this item in the upper right-hand corner that's black and pink. It has a handle on one end that you can grab and a long pole, and then on the end the grabbers can grab game pieces or drop dice into a dice tower or all kinds of different things depending on your game. Abby, what were you going to add?
Yeah, actually, it just popped up when you were saying there's different types of gaming tables, and like when you mentioned like card tables even. Um, Furniture risers, those could be used for card tables. So if it's easier to get your chair underneath there, or if the height's just not working for your body type or how high your chair is, you could always use furniture risers as well to make it more physically accessible.
It's a great one. There are also ways to get your game pieces into a comfortable or accessible position on the table. Um, we have on this slide these blue plastic card holders. There are a number of different versions of these, and we'll talk a little bit more and give some more examples in a little bit, but that can help get cards in a position where they are reachable and accessible for each individual's needs and make more room on the gaming table. There are also a number of different stylus options that we'll talk about today, including the option in this last picture where you see a person who's using a wheelchair using a mouth stylus. So they bite into kind of a U-shaped piece of silicone, and then there's a long, firm pole that has a soft like, felt end so that they can slide game pieces around the board. And they're playing a game of Othello, which I haven't played in a long, long, long time. That sounds like a fun one to get out again. We also, in terms of setting up the environment for an inclusive game night, want to think about how to support executive function. That's anything that our brain needs to do, like keeping track of jobs or tasks or time. This slide has a number of different visual timers available that are available out there on there. They can be color coded, they can use lights. So there's a round one here that has a dial that you spin. And it shows a green chunk of time. And then when time gets shorter, it becomes yellow. And when you're down to the very end, it becomes red. There are flip timers that are each set for a certain amount of time. So below that, like the 1, 3, 5, 10, 15, 30-minute time options. So it's like a sand in the timer. And why can't I think of what that's called, Abby? Time turner?
The
Sand
time
turner?
timer? Oh,
There's a name for that.
that's just completely gone. Yeah, the hourglass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hourglass.
Thank you,
Maybe
Miley.
that's what I'm thinking of.
We'll
But
get
they
there
have all,
eventually.
yeah, they have all kinds of custom ones of those set to certain amounts of time, so you can have that visual as well. And they come in different colors and shapes and sizes. Another example is this time timer, which is like a long cylinder tower, and it has lights on it. So when the green light is lit up, the green band, you have more time, and then yellow less time, and then orange you're getting down to the end. And there are lots of different ones out there that come in different colors and shapes and sizes that are physical items. Also, though, if you don't have access to any of those, having a computer or a device with an internet browser, there are visual timers that are totally free to use that are web-based. If you just type in visual timer, there's a ton of different options. Also, there's a number of free apps that you can download on any smartphone. So whether it's an Android-based platform or an iOS platform, you can download those free timers there and have visuals set up that way. Speaking of phones and tablets, they're also great to use to set like periodic reminders through the game or asking for randomizers. So for example, like if you need like a number between like 1 and 10, you can say, hey, Alexa, give me a number between 1 and 10, and then your smart speaker will give you a random number. So there's lots of ways to incorporate those devices. Oh, I don't know if you can hear it, but mine at my house gave me a random number just now. Um, there are also lots of considerations for visual supports for gameplay. Visual supports can be anything from like the directions that are needed or the rules, or like if you're playing a game where you have to turn in multiple cards to earn another item, it can have visual supports where you need a cow and a wheat and an ore to buy a gameplay card or that kind of thing. There are all kinds of different visuals that are available for free online that other people have already made. And then there are some versions of games that you can purchase that have additional visual supports. I always also think that having notepads and paper around to take notes on or to write thoughts out or whatever to get tally marks down or that kind of thing can also be really helpful for all kinds of different board and card games as well. Abby, did you have anything you wanted to add to this slide?
No, just I really love the whole like having written rules. So like even just having extra copies in there so people can have them. I just feel like going through it verbally is nice, but I like having that actual hard copy as well makes it a lot easier for me at least. And having large print options, which again we'll go over that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm. AT for vision and lighting. So this slide talks about some AT to consider for both vision access needs and sensory input needs. So things to help with vision access might be braille pieces or tactile pieces or cards, things that might be large print or high contrast. There are tons of different magnifiers. There are reading pens available, large print bingo cards, large print playing cards. I know I've seen out there adapted, someone mentioned playing Uno. There's large print Uno cards. You can get, some of them actually have a jumbo sized card available that you can get, which those might not be accessible in other ways because they're a lot to hold. There are all kinds of large print items available. Abby also mentioned having large print directions available or gaming rules available can be helpful. Also, in terms of sensory access needs in the gaming environment, considering lighting options that are available to work, like avoid having glares or to add softer lighting to certain things or having personal lighting available. We also have a headset on this slide. Was one of our team's favorite pieces of AT because you can use it for all kinds of outdoor recreation. You can use it for personal care and grooming. You can use it in the kitchen. You can use it for game night. So it's a super multifunctional piece of tech to have a headlamp that you can strap to your head and then adjust the lighting on to use for multiple purposes.
There's been a request from Paul to just have the speaking slow down by about 30%. Just as the information is coming out a little fast.
Thank you. Thanks, Paul, for asking for that. I appreciate it. Sometimes Abby and I get so excited talking about AT that we get going really fast, and that's not helpful for everyone. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good reminder.
Go ahead, Abby.
Yep. And so there's also AT for hearing and sound. So there are different types of sound systems that people could use. Some that have microphones and their own speaker sets. Things like a karaoke machine is a really great affordable option, and it's portable, so it's easy to take places if you're having game night at other places. There are also things like noise canceling headphones, also noise reducing headphones. So if you don't want to completely block out everything, but you still want to kind of be able to hear your surroundings, but have it not affect you as much as it normally would. There are also, you could use smartphones, tablets, or speakers for things like music or calming sounds, nature sounds, white noise, if that helps regulate you. Caitlin, did you have anything to add? I know you like your loop earplugs. Want to talk about those?
Yeah, there are a variety of different sound reduce. Oops, I just clicked a whole bunch of things. There are a variety of different sound reducing headphone options available. Some people like the over the head options. Some people find that to be too squeezy for their brains, or their heads are uncomfortable for their ears, especially if folks have like skin sensitivity and or maybe like ears pierced or that kind of thing. There can be different comfort factors to consider. My family uses loops a lot. They're really nice because they are very portable. So you can tuck the little carrying case into your, pants pocket or into a bag very easily. They offer several different options for sound reduction or decibel reduction. They have like a version that is great for concerts. It reduces a little bit more. They have a version that they talk about being used to help with like filtering out like the louder sounds, but you can still hear conversational sounds. And they also make them in kid size options. And each time you purchase a set, it comes with different sizes of the like ear canal cushion part. So you can find a custom size that works best for your body. And if you have ears that have two different shapes or size canals, you can customize each loop for each ear, which is a really nice option as well. Also for gaming environment, considering flexible seating options, it can be really, depending on what games you're playing, for longer or shorter periods of time, considering comfort can be helpful. Some people might like to wiggle or wobble around. The chair here in the middle has wiggle wobble chair feet, and those sit on the end of a standard four-legged chair, and they give each of the legs just a little bit of a bounce to them. So you can sit in the chair, keep all four on the floor, and then have a little bit of bounce and wiggle in your chair. There are also a variety of swing and hammock chairs that are portable and of varying sizes. The one in the upper right-hand corner is shown with someone sitting in it outside, but can be used inside as well. It folds up and down similar to a camping chair. And they have both kid and adult size versions of these out there. Another option is like a bouncy band for feet. The picture on this slide shows it at a like school desk, but it can be put on lots of different options there so that it kind of gives you a place to rest your feet and kind of bounce them around. There are also seat cushions you can use that have different tactile inputs. On this slide, there is a picture of a purple butterfly shape that has little circles all over it, and that side has gives kind of a bumpy texture, and the other side I think is a smooth texture on this particular one. But you can inflate or deflate them based on your comfort level, and can kind of give you a little wiggle and comfort option in your seat. There's also a variety of stools and standing platforms out there that can help folks who have a lot of movement needs in their bodies to get a little bit of wiggle in while also still sitting comfortably and participating in game night. We also don't have pictures on this slide, but there are many, many, many different like game chair options out there on the market. We don't have as many of those in our lending library, just based on, I think, sheer size and also all the customized options that are out there. It would be almost impossible to have a little bit of everything available. But if anybody is looking at some of those options or is curious, we certainly have some insight we could offer and would be happy to help problem solve some solutions for you.
Yeah, and AT for self-regulation. Since Caitlin has come aboard, we have accumulated so many more cool fidgets, and I love being able to share these with people. There are different things like tactile stickers that have different textures on them, and you can put those on like the back of your phone, on a folder or clipboard, or anywhere really. A lot of different types of stress balls. There's some of the cool like Nido cubes that like are on the screen. Those ones you can even put in the fridge and get them cold. And then after you play with them, they just go right back to that cube size. They also have things with like different textures in there. There's a snowball one, and that one is specifically a nightmare for me. It has like a like a cornstarch or something in there that's kind of squeaky, and some people love that. Not everyone does, which is why our program is helpful. So you can try those out to make sure it works before you get those. There's also different things like rolls, which I really love. Those you can use with just one hand, both your hands you roll. There's two metal cylinders that you can roll back and forth. You can roll it on your thigh. A lot of people like to do that. The rainbow twirler is a big one. Do you want to take the rest of this slide and talk more about them, Caitlin?
Sure. The rainbow twirler or iridescent whirler, it's called many different names, is a long, thin plastic stick. And on the end, it has some plastic ribbon attached to the top and then attached to a moving piece underneath. And when you spin the stick between your fingers, it spins and rotates in the light. So it gives a lot of visual input. You can also rotate it on the palm of your hand, which can give some tactile input. And it's a wonderful tool for self-regulation. It's in that, especially in that it's a quieter fidget option. We also have in our lending library, a very popular item is our companion pets. These pets interact with voice and sound and touch. And so when you talk to it or coo at it or pet it, it will kind of move its body or head to turn to look at you. And it's a very soft, fluffy creature and is a little bit weighted. So when you sit it in your lap, maybe if you're playing game night, it can be kind of that extra level of comfort, similar to like a weighted lap pad. And especially with the kitties who do a little bit of purring, it can give some calming input that way as well.
There was a question from Paul. He wanted to know if the Zoom will be available for replay. And I let him know we will be sending out the resource guide and the recording and a recording link after the training. And also, I also dropped the YouTube that it's going to go on to in the comments as well. So if you're interested in following us on YouTube, it is in the comments. But yeah, they'll be on YouTube and also by email.
Perfect. Thank you,
Thanks,
Jana.
Jana. And Paul, if you have any specific questions or anyone following today's recording, if you have specific questions that you would like followed up on, we would be so happy to meet with you individually, either over phone or Zoom call or in person to help answer your questions.
Mhm. All right, and now we're getting into some card games. So there are really cool options when it comes to card shufflers and dealers. Before they were separate, like there were some card shufflers that you could put cards on both sides and you would press a button and it would shuffle them for you. And then there were some card dealers that you could put the cards in, and you can put in there how many people are playing and how many cards each person needs. And you press the button, and it spins around and gives everyone the amount of cards they need, which is really cool. And not everyone feels comfortable dealing or like shuffling, and this just makes it just really even playing ground for everyone to deal. And so if that's something that is usually difficult for you to do, you can still, you're like, nope, it's my turn, I got this, and press that button. And some are switch adapted, and now they have ones that are the shuffler and dealer in one, which is really cool. And there are a lot of different types of card holders as well. There are handheld ones that make it easier for you to hold more cards than you could normally hold. Um, there's also ones that are hands-free, so they can just be sitting on the table in front of you. There are smaller ones that are needed probably if you're playing euchre. I think you don't get a lot of cards in that one, if I remember.
Mhm.
Um, but if there's a card game that requires a whole bunch of cards, there are different ones that can hold up to like 35 or more cards. They're like different like tiered ones, and there are some that are foldable and you can that are easy to travel with. There's
Some of
also
them
switch.
also strap.
Yes, there's some that have like a strap, so you can have the handheld. But if your grip strength If it's a little bit hard to like hold on to the things, you can have that strap on there that helps secure it on your hand. And there are also different options that you can use, like the alternate spinner, um, or any type of switch activated spinner. You can customize those by using like a whiteboard marker, and you could put things on there. Like, Caitlin, you always have really good examples. Do you want to?
Yeah, so the alternate spinner is a battery operated device that has a spinning dial on it. On the outside edge, it has large print die faces. So it has the 1 dot, the 2 dot, the 3 dot, and so on. And then inside, it has a smaller version of that. And then you can hit the built-in red button to get it to spin, or you can attach a switch that's most accessible for your needs to it. So if you need to put a switch maybe by your cheek or by an elbow, or you need something that you can pinch in your hand, you can, which again, we'll talk more about switches in a minute. You can use those to help activate it and spin it. And then, as Abby mentioned, the outer circle reverses. And so if you flip it over, it's dry erase on the one side. And then you can put customized options in there for your game night. So if you're playing Candyland, you can put in, one red square, two green squares, two purple squares, one orange square, and so on, and divide it up that way so that when you activate it, whether with the built-in button or with the switch that works best for you, it can spin to an option. So almost taking the place of drawing a card for that game. Sometimes the cards might be too small, too many to hold, or, as Abby mentioned, your grip strength over the course of the game might vary. And so that can be a way that can make the game access to the game card options more accessible for everybody. Also on this slide is pictured is an item similar to the alternate spinner, which is from AbleNet. This one's called the Switch Spinner from Enabling Devices, and that comes with kind of color regions to spin with, and then has kind of some preset options that have like numbers or emotions or dry erase squares or dice options on there as well. There's also just like out there, I feel like I'm seeing more and more like spinners available. This photo in the middle here is of a floor-based spinner that has like dollar amounts on it. But there are so many options that I'm seeing out there that could easily be customized for your family's game night options. Like recently, Abby and I were visiting somebody who, I guess not super recently at Halloween time, who had a Halloween based spinner at their house. And something like that could be customized for game night too. So if you want to DIY something rather than purchase something separate, there are certainly ways to customize items that we already see out in the world.
Yeah, and along with the alternate spinner, it kind of leads into our next slide, which is alternate ways to use dice. So the alternate spinner is a great option, but there's also different things like digital dice. You could ask your smartphone, you can ask your smart device in your home to roll 2d20, and it'll roll the dice and then add them up for you and give you the total. There's also different apps you can get on your phone. There are large print and high contrast dice. There's also braille dice and tactile on the bottom left there. Those ones are weighted too. So um, they're easier to hold and easier to see with the contrast. And you can also feel what number you roll. And another cool way to roll the dice is using dice towers. That's just a really fun alternative. You drop the dice in the top and it'll roll the dice for you. And the nice thing about most dice towers is they have like a landing zone for the dice. So then the dice aren't rolling off the table. An anecdote I like to give is Laura, our coworker, she uses a power chair and we would play D&D sometimes, and if she was to roll the dice and they go off the table, she did have a service dog at the time and he could grab them, but then the dice are covered in slobber. So it's nice to have alternatives that can help keep your dice on the table and make it so it's easier to recover and keep playing. There's also things like dice trays that are just just a container that you can roll your dice into. Sometimes people use the box of the board game to do that, so then the dice aren't flying all over and knocking over pieces. Um, and continuing with dice, it kind of leads into our next slide again, which is Dungeons and Dragons. And there are a lot of different ways to make Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop role-playing games more accessible. There are accessible character sheets like dyslexia-friendly font or large font, high contrast, the different types of dice we have gone over. There are D&D websites and apps that you can use. One that I really like is called D&D and Beyond. It can help keep all your information and your friends can all play on there together. And you can even roll your dice on there and everyone can see what you've rolled. And it's a nice way to keep track of things. Um, and oh, it also says dice rolling apps, which is something that we just talked about. And on the slide, there's also some really cool images of D&D characters that I found on Canva. And they're really inclusive and I just love them. There's a woman who looks like an archer and she has a prosthetic leg and she just looks really cool. There's also a woman that is wearing like a gold suit of armor with a sword and she's in I think a manual chair. And a blind or low vision woman with a service dog and a woman. She looks like a druid. She does some sort of magic, and she has a prosthetic leg, but also a arm cuff cane. And some of the stuff out there, like I feel like people are getting more and more inclusive in design and aesthetics, and I'm here for it. Um, and the next slide, we'll be talking a little bit about mounting options for phones and switches.
Yeah, so we have in our lending library all of the items pictured to help with mounting. And what is mounting? That's when we take a device like a phone or a tablet or a computer or a switch and we hook it up to a mount so that it can be better accessed, whether that's then attached to a person's wheelchair or to a table or something that's freestanding on the floor. There are lots of different ways to mount electronics so that we can get them in a position that's accessible for you. So starting in the lower left-hand corner, this is a mounting set that comes with two straps. The picture has it mounted to a person's upper leg, their thigh, with the tablet in their lap. I have never personally found this to be a good fit for anybody to use it that particular way. But what I do like about the soft straps is that they're super adaptable to mount to all kinds of other surfaces. So that can be a really helpful way to get a device in position. We also have a number of items that are helpful to get devices into place on a tabletop. So this one in the middle here has kind of a wide U-shaped bottom and a flexible arm. And then there are a variety of mounts that have alligator clip options, the large clips that you kind of pinch open and they can attach to parts of a wheelchair or parts of a table. And they have varying attachments. So sometimes they might clip in like a vise to hold a phone or a tablet, or they might be based on tension and kind of hold things in like a tablet by each corner. There are also different options that are freestanding. So they might be like in a stationary stand on the floor, or like in this picture, be on wheels and be weighted so you can move them around into position and adjust at different points to get the right angle. There are a variety of different options out there, and there's new options all the time. For game night, getting our technology in positions that are comfortable and accessible can help make game night more inclusive for everyone. And also, I think, Abby, some of these could be easily adapted to hold different gaming controllers as well.
Yeah. And I was thinking some of them you can even use to hold the card holders too.
Mhm.
If you don't want them on the table, you're like, I think these people are cheating. I want this to be closer to me.
Mhm. Um, And then once we get those smart screens or tablets, phones in position, there's a variety of different stylus options available to make those touchscreens accessible. So there are different options that can either strap or clip or wrap around your hand or your fingers. Some of them, like the second one here, is telescoping. So it starts out maybe about 8 inches long and then can get to be like, I think that one goes to like 14 inches or something. So very, very customizable to get the exact right length for you. We also have some stylus options that are a little bit thicker or heavier, so they might be easier to hold in a hand. We have head mounting styluses that can attach to a headband that you can wear and then can adjust the length on that as well. So you can, if you have a tablet that's kind of up in front of your, range of vision, you can reach with the head stylus. And then a variety of custom grip options for styluses. Also on this slide, we included the easy holds. These are silicone straps that come in varying lengths and colors. And the holes in them are also different diameters. And you can use them. Some of the examples included showing it wrapped around a marker. So if you need to take notes with a pen or a pencil or a marker, or if you're using a dry erase marker for your game, or whatever sort of game assisting devices you have, you can use these as grip options, and certainly for styluses as well. The examples here show it on an action figure, a paintbrush, an electric toothbrush, and a spoon. But the possibilities are endless. They stretch to hold water bottles, remotes, and other things like that. So really, depending on what your game night looks like, the possibilities are endless. And we love a multi-purpose piece of AT.
And today was supposed to be mostly about board games, card games, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention video games a little bit. Because if you are having a video game night or a game that requires using phone access, there are a lot of different types of accessibility features on consoles as well as phones and tablets. Some of the different types of features that you can find on most consoles are, and consoles, I mean, I'm including like PlayStation, Xbox, the Nintendo Switch, things like that. There are different things you can put on like narration, or there's magnifiers. You can change the contrast. You can, for them on most, but not all, some games you can add closed captioning. You can even have the game chat transcribed. You can do button remapping and voice commands, and there's a text to speech. There's a lot of different things that are out there, and some things that might not be available on the console themselves might be in the game itself. So the game and the console have different types of accessibility features, and more and more games are becoming more accessible, and it's starting to not be as much of an afterthought as it used to be, which is really great. And I have a lot of resources on different types of games and their accessibility features. So if you ever have any questions, please reach out. I love to talk about it.
In our lending
And
library, Abby, we have the custom game controllers for all the major systems, right? So
yep.
Wii, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Nintendo Switch. Are there other ones that we have accessible controllers for too?
Um, yeah, so I'm sorry, you really threw me off with the Wii. We
Oh,
don't have a Wii,
oh,
but
sorry.
no, it's okay, but I wish we did. But yeah, we do have things for like the HoriFlex, the PlayStation 5, the new adaptive controller for that, the Xbox adaptive controller, and we have different converters that can help you play it on different systems. And a lot of different switches to use with the adaptive controllers, which is actually the next screen that we have. If you wanted to switch over to that, and Caitlin, if you want to go over the types of switches.
Sure. Thanks, Abby. We have a variety of switches in our lending library. Starting at the lower left-hand corner here, one thing you'll notice is that as I'm talking about them, there's a lot of variations in terms of size, shape, texture. an activation pressure and method to consider. So depending on your access needs, there's kind of a switch for everybody. It is hard to tell based on the pictures in the slide, the real life size of them. So I will try to describe them the best I can. Starting lower left-hand corner here is a pillow switch. That's about the size of, I don't know, like maybe it's 5 or 6 inches in diameter. It's a circular shape and it's covered in a felt piece of fabric or yeah, I don't know. It's like velvety, I guess I would say. Maybe not felt
Mhm.
was the wrong word. So a soft piece of fabric. And on the back of it is Velcro and a safety pin. So you can clip it to different soft textures. It also very easily fits in a variety of mounting options. This one is great if you are using your head or your cheek for activation because it's softer and gentler on your skin. It's also nice for like if you're doing repeated activation like on an elbow because it has that softer input there and it's very easy to customize position. Next to that is a tiny cup switch. This is the cutest switch we have in our inventory. It's about the size of a quarter. This one is actually submersible. So if it's being used for I don't know, switch adapted bubble machine, for example. You don't have to worry about it getting wet and not working anymore. It uses just a tiny bit of pressure to activate. Next to that, the triangular orange and white shaped switch is called the candy corn switch. It comes in 2 different sizes, and this is known as a proximity switch. And so a lot of switches kind of like the one next to it, the big red here, work by pushing down on a button. You click it down, it activates, and it turns on the thing it's connected to. The proximity switch works by blocking out the light. So you don't actually have to press or click anything on it. You just have to hover over it or rest a hand on top of it and that will activate the switch. So this is a really nice option, especially if you're using it for something that needs sustained activation. You don't have to sustain the pressure to keep a button down. You can rest your hand there, which is a nice option.
And that one gives you feedback too, right? Different types.
Yeah, so you can customize it 2 ways. Thank you, Abby. You can have it give you light feedback. So the 3 corners will light up kind of a little orange circle to let you know it's being activated. And you can also turn on a sound feedback option. So it will give a little beep, sustained beeping sound if it's being activated. And you can use one or both or neither of those, which is great. We love customizable options for sure. Next to that is the big red switch, like I mentioned. That's a standard click it on and it works or activates kind of switch. It can come, there's a corded version and there's a Bluetooth version. This one is a little bit wider in diameter. I think this one's probably maybe 7, 8 inches around or across, I mean, and then in the upper right hand corner is the small version of that. It's called the jelly bean. That one's maybe 3 inches across and works the same way. Also, there's a corded and uncorded version of that. In the middle here, we have the grip and puff switch. This one is snazzy. It takes the input method on the end. This particular picture shows the hand squeeze one, which is like a silicone blue grip. And when you squeeze it, it sends a puff of air through the tube. And that little gray box then converts the air pressure into an electronic signal, which then activates the device. There's also a different end piece for this one that works with a straw. So we do have that in the lending library to show, but we can't demonstrate it because the straw is just one of those items that's a personal one-time use only kind of item, but I can show you what it looks like. So if using a breath of air is the best way for you to activate a switch, this one is available. We also have a couple different grip switch options. So if your hand being in an upright position is most comfortable and accessible for you, this one that's shown on the slide in the middle here has a like navy blue fabric around it, and when you squeeze it, that activates the switch. And then next to that is the pinch switch that has a silicone piece on the end that's probably about 3 inches long. And you can hold that in your hand. And if you even just like squeeze your hand or pinch any of it or push it with a thumb, any part of that will activate that switch. Up above that, this is there's several different versions out there. This is a Bluetooth connector. So it's kind of a middle piece, if you will. So many of these switches that I mentioned use cords to plug into an item, but sometimes you might be using something that is Bluetooth connected only. It doesn't have any ports to plug into, like an iPad, for example. The newer iPads all work with Bluetooth switches. So this little device, you can physically plug in the switches, whatever switch works best for you to it, and then connect that device via Bluetooth to the electronic that you want to use the switch with. And you can either use one of the built-in switches on there. This one has two large square ones, one yellow, one red, for different inputs, or you can customize with your own switches. So that's a nice interface option. And then the last switch on this slide is our micro light switch. It's about the size of maybe a person's thumb. And then it works with very, very, very teeny tiny bit of pressure to activate. So that's a nice option if you know your preferred activation method is with a lighter motor movement. This slide also has some of our switch adapted items that are in our lending library. Some of these are very applicable to game night. Some of them might not be as much, but we love to show them because we've been very conscious about expanding the items that we have available in our lending library for folks to try. So there's some mood lighting options like the disco ball and the fiber optic light, bubbles available. There's also personal fans, so regulating temperature on game night can be helpful. And then a vibrating neck pillow, music, and this is a switch activated doorbell. So maybe even if you want to have a victory sound in your game to ring the doorbell, that's a way to have that available as well.
And I included a video. He goes over a lot of really cool different tactile games and braille games that you can purchase. And just so everyone knows, he does talk pretty fast. And I will kind of go over a little bit of what he went over in the slide following.
I'm glad he's how I play board games! Yahtzee! Good luck finding the dice, but they're tactile. I've had to custom order all of these. Most popular household games aren't made accessible. We've had to search far and wide to find these so we can play as a family. There's simple braille and tactile elements to everything to make it inclusive. Like this game of Connect 4, all they did was drill a little hole in one of the pieces and now I can play. We got tactile chess, checkmate. Tactile Rubik's Cubes, never solved. I don't know what this thing is, but it's tactile and has braille. One of my personal faves is Monopoly. They did a great job with this. All the braille cards, the braille on the board, and the tactile dice. They even got braille on their money, unlike US. Uno, braille playing cards, tactile dominoes. Someone even brailled all the Cards Against Humanity. I cannot read that on camera. Unfortunately, there is a barrier. People have to custom make these so they become more expensive. It would be awesome if we could get these big companies to start making accessible games. Oh, I got my word. One love!
He's a really fun blind YouTube influencer. And he was going over a lot of different types of Braille games that you can purchase online. There's also things like Braille Uno and Bingo, and then also the ones he also went over like Monopoly, chess, and checkers. But if you wanted a cheaper alternative, you can even try and do some DIY from home, and that's going to be the last slide we're kind of going over. So game night DIY. You can make your own game pieces that work best for you. So you can use existing game pieces and then just adapt them. So you could use like painter's tape to make them easier to grab. Or you can use air dry clay and make your own game pieces, or you can make your own entire game if you want to make your own tactile tic-tac-toe board. That was an activity we did at our camp, Her Power, Her Pride. And that was a really fun activity because you got to learn about contrast, about how tactile games work for people, and you had to make different shapes that you could be able to have, like, they had to be different enough so you could feel the difference. So you can play that tic-tac-toe, and you can do that with checkers as well. But you could also just play with random trinkets from your house. Instead of using the tiny thimble of Monopoly, you can use an actual thimble or a dust bunny, whatever works for you. You can also create more contrast on your games. So you can take like a really thick, bold Sharpie and darken lines, or you can use a different colored tablecloth that maybe contrasts the color cards you're using, different things like that. You can also make things tactile by using those wax stick. I think they're called wiki sticks.
Yeah.
You can use those to outline the game board, or you can make those into game pieces, or you can use things like puffy paint to create that tactile feel on games, or bump dots, different textured things. You can make your own like dice tray. So you could have any type of box will do, but if you also, a lot of times I see them with like a felt lining. So sometimes if it is a sensory issue to have like the loud sound of dice, like the dice tower won't work for you because it's really loud and clattery, which I enjoy, but some people I could see them not liking that at all. And you can even custom make grips for your utensils if you're writing things down. You can use a tennis ball by cutting a little X in the top and bottom and sticking a pen through, or pencil or marker. You can build up with anything you have lying around the house. Like in this photo here, I think they just used a washcloth and like a hair tie wrapped around a pen or pencil. And you just find what works best for you. And you can use things that aren't necessarily made for that purpose, but yeah, make it work for you. And I see we do have a comment. Jana, sorry, that's all you.
Sorry. Maggie was wondering if we'd be sharing the YouTube channel of the influencer who made that the fabulous commercial.
Absolutely.
Love to follow.
I
Yeah, I
just went
will.
back to the slide. We'll make sure we add it to the resource guide, but his name is Anthony Esperaro.
Yeah. And he has so many cool videos, and it's not just about gaming, but he does like accessible sport. I know he snowboards a lot. He does a lot of really cool videos. So yeah, I'm excited for you to go down that rabbit hole.
Maggie says thank you.
Of course.
Absolutely. Um, I recognize we're getting right to our 1 o'clock time. I feel like it always goes so fast. Um, and what were you going to say, Abby? I feel like you had one more thought you were going to mention.
Oh, no, I was going to say we were just going to kind of go over our last slide here, the contact us slide. And I did have a question. I put care to share. I was just wondering if anyone has some ways that they've adapted their game nights already, and if they would like to share, maybe give other people ideas. And yeah, so Caitlin, you could go ahead and read our last slide.
Sure. So, thank you all for coming here today. We appreciate your time and apologize for being so speedy in the beginning. We appreciate that feedback. We would love to connect with you in other ways. We are on social media, and that contact information will be in our resource guide. As Jana mentioned, we have our YouTube channel where this and other videos are available for you to review at your leisure. If you'd like to contact us with any specific questions about today, or about other questions you have in your life about access to AT, please don't hesitate to do so. You can reach us at our entire AT team at mi-at.org. And you can reach Abby and I individually as well. Abby is our gaming and crafting expert on the team. Her email is abby@mi-at.org. And my email address is Caitlin, CAITLIN, at mi-at.org. You can also visit our website at mi-at.org to look at our lending library catalog, additional resources we have available, and to sign up for our newsletter. Are there any questions we have before we go today?
Oh, Maggie, sorry, Jana, I'm jumping in again.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Say Maggie said they use blue card holders that we showed in the presentation, and that they work incredibly well. Thanks for great new ideas. I'm going to have to review the video. So much good info. Oh, Maggie, you're too kind. Yeah, and there's so many other card holders too. I've come across a couple that, like, when you put the cards in, that they don't actually stick and they fall out really easily. So if you're ever in the market to try some new ones, let us know. But I'm so glad that those ones work well for you. And Jana, I wanted to say thank you to you for chat moderating. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Paul also said thank you for the presentation. And I'm also going to drop the link to the resource guide in the chat as well, again, in case you missed it the first time. So all these things will be in the resource guide as well. So if you missed something and need to get back to it, we'll have information in there for you as well.
And thank you
Sounds
to
great.
Darcy, our interpreter, and Candace, our captioner. We appreciate you as well. I'm sorry, Caitlin.
No, I was just going to say, I don't see any more questions coming through or comments, but thank you all so much for your time today. We really appreciate it, and we hope you head out into the world knowing a little bit more about AT for Game Night after today's presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.